Recording has been started, so I'm gonna start us off. How's everybody doing today? Good, 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 good. Can I talk about tiebreaker and you don't want to type it? Yeah, sure. I'll just invite you up and I'll give you a couple minutes so you can just keep it straight to the point. All right. First thing we're gonna do, Sinestro, I'm gonna read off your idea. I'm gonna give you like 1 to 2 minutes, to pitch it, and then we can vote on it. I might play devil's advocate for a lot of people's ideas just because it's our league. So I just want to make sure that we are trying to see any holes in whatever ideas. So the first idea is for next split, instead of side selection being pre-decided in the beginning of the season for the very first game, Sinestro recommends that each team picks one player to 1v1 in order to choose side. So the 1v1 would be on ARAM. We would have to figure out all the logistics of like what the rules are. But I know that like LCS and stuff, they're looking to not LCS, LTA or whatever is kind of looking to do it, and it's gonna be fun. It's supposed to be fun, but my only thing, I'll let Sinestro talk before I go into what I think about it. So, all right, Sinestro, I'm gonna let you in.
Yo, what's up?
Yo, all right, give us the pitch.
All right, all right. Here's the thing, right? So instead of it being in the hands of the almighty whoever designs this sheet at the start of the season, right? I think it's a lot better and more intuitive and more like content worthy for us to make something out of getting side selections. So basically, what Jake said about like at the start of each game or like series, you send out one player from your team. They send out one player from your team, and then they run the ones in ARM, and whoever gets first blood gets side selection. It's not gonna take that long. It's ARAM, bro. So whoever gets first blood picks up the ability to pick their sides. I think it's more interesting than just looking at the matchup sheet and being like, oh, I guess we're blue side. I guess we have to draft around this now. So you get to like kind of like put it in your own hands.
Yeah.
I also just wanna. I
Good.
also just wanna like, I just think it's cool.
You gonna do what?
I just think it's a good idea. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, no, for sure. My only worry is I think it's a great content idea. I think it's gonna be so hilarious watching people 1v1. We'll see, like, maybe some teams will just have side select every single game because they have the best 1v1er. I think there's a lot of content that could come out of it for sure. But I was wondering if anyone here that's watching now, what are their problems with it? Do they have any adaptations that could fix these problems? And I'm gonna be writing everything down on a notepad. So
Lizzo chiming a good point. I think starters only.
what?
If
Yeah,
we
all right, yeah, no, all right. So it would have to be starters only. Um, a problem that I find, yeah, adding overall time to the match. I think that teams should, if they can, pick one player ahead of time that could be to the match at least 15 minutes early. Because the last thing we want to do is I've had a lot of games recently where it takes us like 30 minutes just to get the game started. And like that alone just really throws you off your mojo. So I don't know if you guys are against the idea of being 15 minutes early if you're gonna be the 1v1er, or do you think that's just unrealistic?
I mean, I think like streaming the 1v1 would be pretty intuitive to it. And most the reason why like games end up being so late is because a player is just late. Like
Yeah,
period.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it's not like a like everybody's there at 7 when they should be. Like if the game starts at 7, then you should have already drafted by. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Chelsea brings a good point. You can just rewrite the time to his penalties to include everyone. Yeah.
Okay. That's actually a great point. If your designated player isn't there to 1v1, and then you don't get side select, that's a good point. So punish people who are late for the 1v1. Yeah. So I like that. I like that. Anything else? I'm gonna go through all the ones that were submitted in ticket first, and then I'm gonna we can reach out to the chat and see who has ideas. But I'm only gonna take like well thought out ideas. I'm not gonna take like random spur of the moment ideas. In this league with this rule, most forfeit the side select TBH. Yeah, a lot of people in leagues with this rule most. Okay, I see what you're saying. You're saying in general. Yeah, it's a good point. Like on one hand, it's content. On the other hand, it kind of removes the competitive integrity aspect of it. And of course, we wouldn't do it for playoffs. Playoffs would be based purely off of seeding. I think is the most fair. So we'll put up to a vote though. I think it could be fire. We could also put up to a vote where maybe only the streamed game of the week has to 1v1 for it. Therefore, we're maximizing content. For people to rulebook each other. Yeah, that's true. We don't want people to be rulebooking. That's like number one. We don't want people to be going out of their way in order to abuse the rulebook. That's why we're kind of trying to change things. So, all right. Thank you, Sinestro. We appreciate your genius idea.
No, you do. I'm pretty smart.
Hopefully one day I'll be blessed with your presence again. All right.
I know.
Later. All right. The second idea is actually by Big Jake Man himself. What is this? Where's this comment? Okay. Oops. So this idea, I kind of have thought it through, and I'll give you guys the background. I'm gonna give you guys double background. I'm about to talk way too much. If you want to zone out, this is the time you can. So, a controversial rule in our league is the minimum rank requirement. The background behind that is when I was playing in BOL Draft League, I remember there being a big conversation about how a player who fell far below the minimum requirement, I mean, he was gold 4, about to go silver 1. And he was on my team, and of course, like, it's hard to play around a player that just isn't, improving. They're actually getting worse in play. And I made a comment, and they're like, well, they joined the league, they could stay in it. It doesn't matter. This is like, you get what you get. Don't pitch a fit kind of thing. But then they have a strict rule where like I was about to get kicked from the league because I was about to hit D3, and it's not that I hit D3. I was like D4 50 LP. Here's a warning. You have to play more games. And so I think it's silly to not incentivize people to climb. I think climbing is for a lot of people a way for them to improve outside of competitive. I think it's really the only way. But I think right now the way that our rules in this league are, I think it's being abused currently, and I think that if we keep it the way it is, it's gonna be abused more. So I just want to go over to maybe an amendment of the rule, things we change it. So the rule as it is now is if you fall below plat 4, you have until next week's games to get back to it. If you don't get back to plat 4 by next week's games, then you are removed from the league without a choice. And the reason we have that is we don't want favoritism, right? We don't want like Lizzo dropping down to silver 1, but then, Coco hits gold 199 LP out of nowhere, and they're like, Coco, get out of here just because we don't like Coco. So we make sure that it's like a universal rule, and it's enforced by everybody, even though sometimes that can be extreme. So the biggest changes, I'm not going to read the whole spiel that I have. If you guys want to read it, it's all in the video I'm going to post later. But the idea is we're going to the minimum rank to still join the league is going to be plat 4. This is just an idea. I'm not forcing this on anyone. But in order to get kicked out of the league, we're going to make gold 1 the minimum rank, as well as we are going to increase the grace period is the biggest thing, right? So any player who drops below the gold 1 threshold will have a 2-week grace period from the date the team manager officially notifies the league. And that's going to be another thing that we're talking about, is that it's going to fall on the team managers to be monitoring these low elo players. Because what's coming back on us is they're like, oh my gosh, do you know this guy's been gold 3? Do you know this guy's gold 3? I'm like, no, I'm not checking everybody's ranks in the entire league, okay? And they're like, well, he's been goal 3 since last week, and he played this game, so he should be kicked out, you know, because they just want to get rid of their bad teammate or whatever. And so it's going to be on the manager's dime, you know. So if the manager's not keeping up with it, they're not getting kicked out. If a player drops rank in week 1, the team has until the start of week 3. This is just an example. So if we're in week 1 and the player drops rank and get down to gold 2, the team will have until the start of week 3 to restore the player's rank before making a permanent replacement. And then this is kind of the communication policy I want to add to it from the team manager. The team manager must notify the league organizers on the exact day a player falls below the rank requirement. So it's going to have to be a two-way road. I don't expect the league managers to be checking people's ranks every day. So if you do fall behind that, be like, hey, just a warning. The grace period officially starts on the date of notification. If the manager fails to report the rank drop within a reasonable time frame, an example would be 48 hours, the team will face a minor penalty, such as a small point deduction or a warning in next draft or whatever. We can also make it like if when they sub, they lose another band. I'll answer questions in a second. And so, okay, and then this also handles what if multiple players drop rank at the same time, and multiple players on the same team drop below the rank requirement. Each player will be granted the same 2-week grace period individually. This ensures that the rule is applied consistently and fairly across all situations. So, alright, so that's like the general gist. We're just going to lower it. We're going to extend the grace period. Overall, if we want to add in the decision for managers to be able to choose whether or not they want to keep their players, we can add that. My worry for that, though, is that we are going to create a clique, and it's going to be like only people that are like in the community get to stay, and then like we don't know you and you suck, you're getting kicked, kind of thing. And I just don't want that to happen. I want everyone to feel like they can come here, as well as like, I don't know. There's a lot of ways where if you're falling below gold 1 consistently, then you probably aren't at the skill level required to play in this league. It's kind of just the reality of it. So, alright, now you guys can ask your questions. I'm going to read profits first. Concern I had was that I was told the current rules would allow opponent to say that a lower ranked player can't play. I have no problem with it being the team's decision. Alright, I'll give you a good thumbs up for that. So we're still forcing the idea that I would amend wouldn't change the fact that we're forcing them to drop. That wouldn't be the change. Though I can add that to my notes that that's a popular opinion that you guys think it should be up to the orgs. Player drops should be up to the org. Alright, let me go to gamer. Oh wow, a lot of thoughts. Few topics to bring up. Are these different topics or are these on point? Can I pin this in this chat? Because I'm gonna go through all the stuff that's been submitted by ticket and then I'll go through it. Alright, I'm gonna go through number 3 because number 3 I think is relevant, right? Attempting to remove my own bias from this, I do think that the player shouldn't automatically be removed from the league if they demote below P4. Oftentimes, solo queue is treated as a training grounds for new champs. That's fair. The motion before P4 after week 1 should simply open the opportunity for orgs to remove or replace the player if they desire. I understand wanting to protect orgs, but I think if a player freaks out on an org for booting them because they wouldn't get back to P4 after a week, maybe they're not the type of player you want in your league anyways. That's a great argument for letting the orgs decide. Yeah, I completely agree right there, and I'll read the rest of your stuff. You just gotta recopy and paste it, so I can keep going on. All right. Anyone else have anything about the dropping below situation or a way to fix it? Against the team's will is not good for competitive integrity. Okay. I mean, in the world where Lizzo Griff blow up doesn't happen, a situation where the league is threatening to explode a top of the standings roster against the team's will, would be insane. That's true. That's true. The best team in the league has a flat four player and they drop and then they can't get back up. And what's the thing with that? Yeah, no, I agree with that for sure. All right. So, oh, by the way, I think it's worded. I don't really know the rule book by heart. You can sue me. I think it is worded that the P4 drop replacement is completely void after regular season. So in playoffs, if they demote down to Iron 4, you gotta keep them. I don't want permanent subs for playoffs. I think that completely ruins competitive integrity of the league. Jesus. All right. Jake, rather have you the teammates? Yeah, I'd rather have you boost your team. Yeah, it means you like him enough. Gamer Destroyer. I think Bear's gonna reach out to you about the situation for you. I will not say anymore because I do not think it's my place to say. So, okay, he did. Okay, good. All right, awesome. I'm gonna go to the next subject, which was submitted by Beg, who's not here, so he will not be able to defend his stance on anything. But I do like these ideas. First idea we're gonna talk about is the tiebreaker rules right now. By the way, a lot of people are dissatisfied by the tiebreaker rules. And that's fair. That's fair. It's a short season. There's smaller groups, so the original idea behind everything was, all right, head to head could flip on a dime for some of these teams. So on one week, this team could beat them. On the other week, the team would beat them back. So we valued, first of all, total series wins was number one, and then the second was total wins in general, right? Because the team can sneak out wins in general. And so that's the second one. So that's actually over head to head. And there's actually, I think, multiple cases in the Solari group where that was a difference maker in seeding, including my team. My team went up a rank. I think we're fourth seed now instead of fifth seed because we had more total wins, even though we lost the head to head. So that is kind of trash right now. Alright, hold on. I'm sorry, Coco. Did I skip your? If players constantly go to on their main, but keep a pat with active time and all. How does the rule address that? I don't know if you talked about this. So the way that we handled the situation this season is, as long as your alt has the required amount of games to play in the league, you are allowed to file it as your quote unquote main account, where you will be playing your elo sitting games every week, as well as that account will be the one monitored for the rank drop. So as long as you're keeping, can you switch your main account mid-season? No, I don't think so. I think that's really pushing a limit at that point. I think, yeah, I gotta do it before the season. Like when we let people in the league, there was people that were like gold 1 on their main, but they're like, here's my plat 3 account that has the same amount of games on it. My main's cursed, and we're like, okay, that's fine. Like that's reasonable. But back to the tiebreaker stuff. I want to stay on topic here. A proposed solution for this was going to a points-based system. So what would a points-based system look like? Very simply, a points-based system would mean if your team wins a 2-0 series, they win 2-0, your team gets 3 points. If they win 2-1, your team gets 2 points. If your team loses 1-2, your team gets 1 point. And if your team loses 0-2, you get 0 points. And at the very end, it will be about who has the most points at the end of regular season. So that was kind of the general suggestion. Very simple, and I'll look to read what you guys have to say now. I'm sorry. No comments on the point system. Alright, nobody cares.
Oh.
Well, put it for a vote then. Oh, okay, your league does this as well. Okay, I understand. No, yeah, I think the point system works for short season leagues a lot better. I think long season leagues, what Lizzo said, the series wins, head-to-head game wins should be the normal. But because we have a short season, and this could be another discussion point, by the way. Do we want to extend the season because you guys are paying honestly the same price for a shorter product? That could be a whole another discussion point, but yeah, still need a secondary tiebreaker system. Interesting. Oh yeah, if teams have tied points. I, you know what? This isn't written down anyway. But I just love when teams are tied and then they have to do like best of ones to break the tiebreaker. I love that. I think that's so fun. Playing this fit another season before 20 cannot extend it. Okay. Yeah, I don't. I mean, we don't have to do it before 2026 unless there's a specific league that you're talking about. Season 3 FPL would be the time to expand it. Okay. What's your reasoning behind that? Just, ooh, it's a good point. Yeah. It's a great point. I'm gonna write that down. Three, we want to expand the FPL season, then we should wait until the new league season comes out, aka FPL season 3. That is a absolutely great point, Chelsea. Have Lissa write the rule book so it can be an actual good rule book. And great idea, man. I'll put that one in my back pocket just for you. There's one more written thing, and then I'll take chat suggestions, and I can pull you guys up since you're here. I have not read this yet, so you basically wrote it. Oh man, this is rage bait. Alright, this is Beg's second suggestion. Another additional, I would say, is the following regarding permanent player replacement. They are treated as a substitute for their first week. Additionally, something to add, if you use and subbed and the sub is replaced, that sub counts as 2 subs. Okay, he's saying if you use 2 subs in the same series, you should get -2 bans. And what he's actually saying is like, game 1, you sub out your ADC, but that ADC has to go. So then game 2, you have a completely different sub for ADC. He's saying you should lose 2 bans for that, you know? I don't know if that is a controversial take, if we care enough. Lose 2 bans if you sub mid-series. Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to, you don't have to. I'll write it down. If it's not popular, we won't even go for it then. Not 2 more bans. So you already lose 1 ban. It's just saying you lose 1 additional ban on top of it. That's all it's saying. Dumb take? True? Maybe. I don't know. I'm a man of the people. Whatever the people say. Whatever you say is a dumb take, folks. I see you there. Alright, so it seems like it's a semi contended topic. Beg ain't here to explain himself. Oh god, bro, you had 2 big rule. I think there's a third one. Hey, you know what he said too in his wording? Oh man, he's gonna watch this video. He said in his wording, I think these are all good additions that are hard to argue against. It seems like you guys are arguing against him fine, but then again, it's not my idea, so I can't like exactly get the inner machinations of his mind. So true, Rept. Alright, so just to review things we talked about. We talked about the 1v1 for side select. We talked about the potential amendment for the low elo dropout. So things we talked about was increasing the grace period, lowering it down to gold 1, and giving managers a say. Were the three big things that we were talking about in the chat to change it. The next thing we talked about was moving the tiebreaker system to a points system, and then having a secondary tiebreaker system underneath it. Yeah. Now and then we talked about subbing the same position with different subs in the same series should take away more than one ban, should take away 2 bans. So now I'm going to take suggestions. I will not stay on a topic for more than 3 to 5 minutes, but I will write it down. If it's a topic that people keep typing about, even when I moved on, then I'll go back to it, and we can definitely put it in for a vote. So I'm gonna get water while you losers type. Alright. And I'm back. Oh, I can shrink this? No, it doesn't really do much. Alright. Game Destroyer went first, so I'm reading Game Destroyer's first point. Having both current rank and peak rank parameters Alright, my headset disconnected because there was no audio coming through, so now I gotta play some music. Okay. Having both current rank and peak rank parameters for subs makes subs extremely difficult to find. I reckon. You reckon? It should be one or the other. If current rank, peak rank should obviously be within reason, but I don't think there should be some crazy cap to it. I don't think our cap is too crazy. So our current sub rules is they can't currently be higher, which I think is completely fair, and they can't have peaked an entire division above them, which is also pretty fair. This means if a player is plat 3, their sub has to be plat 3. Let's say the player peaked E4, the sub can't have ever peaked diamond. That's what the rules say. So you guys give me what you think about this. Alright, you think it's fair? Okay. That's weird. Alright, let me read the rest of it. Sorry. Alright. There should also be a sign up for players to sign up as available subs for their link with their op.gg's link so that managers have a source for finding subs. That is a phenomenal idea. And I think that next season we're actually going to have a bigger intake of players. So we can turn our wait list to a sub list as well. Sign up for players that want to be subs.
Oh my god.
Alright, number 4, someone mentioned wanting a visual of who's talking in Lionsden. Wonderful idea. Yep. Lionsden visual. Make sure I write everything down. Ooga Booga used a website for tournament codes and shit. Am I the only one? I hate when leagues have websites. I'm sorry, call me a hater. Call me a hater. So, alright, I'm a hater. I mean, our tournament code system is actually more work for us, but I like it when it's just like, you know, post it in the chat. You just click on it. Like, you don't even have to go to a spreadsheet, you know? I like that. You don't even have to go to the spreadsheet. You just click on the little tournament code channel. Yeah, I'm pretty bad about websites, so, but I will write it down. Website question mark? And we can still vote on it. Alright, and I think that was the last thing from you, so now I'm going to scroll up. Jake needs a big smooch on the head. Amendment. Jake needs a big smooch somewhere else, like his cheek. If you know what I'm saying. Can I talk about tiebreakers? Yeah, Chelsea, I'll let you in. Hello. Speak
hear me?
speak your business.
Okay, so the way the tiebreakers are on the on the spreadsheet, and also the way you mentioned it about like 5 seconds later or 5 seconds ago, are not how the tiebreakers are written in the rules.
Mm.
It is series record, game record, head-to-head record, and stuff. But when it says game record, it means overall. It says in the tiebreaker, it says overall game wins and losses across the season, which for how it affects your it doesn't really affect your team in the Solari group because your individual standings, you guys are 6 and 7, and then Legacy is 5 and 7, XSV is 4 and 7, so that all worked itself out, right? But for the top three teams in your groups, as long as my math is correct, we have a situation where Monkeys is 8 and 6, TTM is 7 and 5, and TFF is 6 and 4. And the if you're doing it, depending on what metric you're using to determine what overall games, wins, and losses across the season, if you're doing it based on percentage, like win percentage, then TFF would actually be the first seed.
Yeah.
And and then if you're doing it based on game difference, then they're all tied, in which case, because they're all +2,
Yeah.
2 wins more than losses, they would all be tied. And then in which case, I think TTM in their sort of three-way head-to-head, TTM was the only one in that situation who 2-1'd their relative opponent. So then they would be third, and I think it would be a situation where TTM would be third, and Monkeys would be first, and TFF would be second. And so, I mean, the sheet like doesn't have the overall game record, which I mentioned like a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
because it should show wins and losses because in the rule book it says that it's game wins and losses across the season. And then, you know, before the season, nobody really clarified whether overall games wins and losses meant raw game difference or percentage. And this is a situation where depending on what interpretation you use, it changes the seating pretty dramatically. I'm not that term, right? It pretty much would change whether it would be like TFF, TTM, MKY, or MKY, TFF, TTM, and that's probably something that should have been decided before it affected like actual teams. But uh, there should at least be like some like vote or something to clarify that because seeding matters a lot, not just for your team, but obviously like for our teams as well in our group based on like who we're facing in the first round of playoffs
Yeah,
and who the
true.
gauntlet teams will be facing.
Um, I guess when the rules were written, the original intention was total wins. It wasn't a win-loss idea, and if the wording suggests that, I'll look at it. But the idea was always total wins. But
I will put the
I'm
screenshot in the chat right now.
yeah, put a screenshot perfect. Thank you. Overall game wins and losses across the scenes. Interesting. And approved. Perfect. Um,
That yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think that's completely reasonable to put up for vote, and that should honestly be prioritized probably since it's so um, game record, and we can have people vote for it, and then if it's voted that we're just doing game wins, we'll keep it as it is. If it's voted we want to do game wins and losses across the season, then we will change the standings accordingly. So we'll look to put that vote out soon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's all I had.
All right,
Just
thank you.
yeah. All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. All right. Did I miss anything else? I'm probably gonna cut this at 8:30. So we have about 15 minutes. If you guys have anything else. If not, there's cactus behind me. Oh yeah, there are. Yeah, it's because we moved to Texas at first, so we got a little cacti. I just leaked my DMs. Oops, I forgot I'm recording this. Alright, we left up here. Okay. So mid and top can swap freely. I thought we already voted on this now. I thought we went along the lines of they could swap, but if they are seen abusing the system, then there will be punishment. What about these gold players in the league? But we actually already talked about it in the beginning of it, and I'm going to post the video so you can watch the beginning of the video to see what points we discussed about that. Can we get more chicks in the league? No, I think you would just harass them. So that would be my my take on that. Well, if there's nothing else, guys, I'm gonna call it here. We'll look to post the video tonight. Oh, brother, let's just find out. I got one more ping. Hold up. Bang. Thank you. Players involved in trade are involved in the vote. Either way, they're the tiebreaker instead of the commissioner, or we restructure entirely for players involved to trade to vote on trades. That is a good point, and this is what I'll say, right? So there's 2 players from every team, which would mean that there's 12, right? My math's adding up. We have 6 per group, so that means there's 12 teams, which means there's 24 players. Realistically, if there's a 3-way trade kind of thing going on, I could see them definitely having the advantage on the trades, and I actually am not a fan how some of these trades were let through this season. But my opinion doesn't matter. That's reality. Let me scroll down. I lost your message. I'm sorry. All right, it's right here. So, what would be your I guess your guys' suggestions on how we can negate players who are on the player committee that are getting traded? Because actually, another thing that was talked about. Let's say we get in the beginning of the season, it's 2 from every team, but there could be a situation where players get traded around. And we're not keeping track of it this season. We didn't keep track of it. But players could get moved around to the point where there's 5 players from one team that are all player reps, just because of trades. So that's also kind of another problem. Player reps involved in their own trades. You're allowed to DM people, by the way. I think that's like kind of a rumor going around. If you want your trade to get passed, just like it is in the government, it is your job to campaign for it. If you can bully people into voting for you, I'm sorry, that's how the real world works, then you can do that, You want to speak? Sure. Bang. And invite to speak.
Okay, hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, I'm putting my baby to sleep. Okay. So my point was so we had trades where it went to the commissioner to be the deciding vote. I think instead of the commissioner being the deciding vote, the players involved in the trades should be the deciding vote.
Okay, that is
So
what you're trying to say.
if
Okay.
yeah, 50% or more of the players in the trade want the trade to go through, then they can decide if it happens. Or I mean, it could be different, but I think that players involved in trades should have some say in it because, like, yeah, it's a draft league, and the point is that it's like kind of for managers to do the managing stuff. But it feels really bad to like have a trade happen on your team that you don't like, like, or like be involved in a trade that you don't like. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like when the trade happened with our team, like we traded our AD and jungle, and like AD and I were pre-made, and mid and jungle were like vibing really well.
Yeah.
And I mean the trade's fine, I like Peekaboo too, and T-Lane's come in and he's been great. But like it did kind of make it like this is a fun thing, and it's less fun when
You don't get to play with people you want to
we're,
play
we're
with, kind of thing.
yeah, and it's a draft league, so like
Yeah.
I expect it to a degree, but like I just think it's better if the players involved in the trade have some say, or at least can be the deciding vote or something like that.
Yeah.
Right, Seven? I see you down there. You loved your boy.
All right, so let me write that down. Giving players say in trades, and when you say that, you mean players involved in trade get their own separate vote. The only thing that I would tweak about that is I do think it's very important for Bear to be the tiebreaker, but it also could be the fact of maybe a trade doesn't even get proposed if it's not voted on first, kind of thing. We can adjust it here
Yeah,
or there to see
sure.
what it is, but I definitely hear what you're saying. And at the end of the day, you guys paid to play here. You guys should get some
Yep.
kind of say in who you play with. I know the managers have a big say, so it also comes down to the manager's responsibility of convincing their players. So that's going to be a whole nother thing. It could add a dynamic. I don't think it's bad, but it does limit. The only bad part about it is that it does limit trades. There will be less trades because of it. So
Yeah, for sure.
it will be a vote. We'll see what people think about it for sure. But I like the idea. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, kick them out before you can say goodbye. All right. We got 7 more minutes. Does anybody? I see no reason why they shouldn't have a say. All right, bang. Yeah, and profit. Yes, when player reps are traded, then we need to adjust who the player reps are. Yes, I agree. And next season we're gonna be a lot more diligent. All right, I'm gonna be around a lot more. Oh god, what a terrible screenshot of me right there. All right. Anything else? I'm sorry, I'm catching up on a lot of the things. Stop ganking me, never. I really did camp the shit out of you yesterday. I really did. I got coaching by this LTA South coach, and every time I ganked you guys, he goes, "Oh my god, what is these guys even doing? Are they dogs? Like, do they not see you?" I thought it was funny. Alright, thank you for... I wanted to make sure that I remember correctly, how much control/say are the founders supposed to have during the season? So the idea is that during the season, we're allowed to maybe give clarifications on the rules and like tickets and stuff. We're allowed to like make channels and stuff. But what we're not allowed to do is try to force Bear to make a decision that benefits us. We're like, literally today we had a discussion about an issue, and even though I feel strongly disagree with Bear about his decision on this issue, at the end of the day of it, I don't get a say, and that's how we're gonna keep it. So, Bear gets the final word of everything, and he will not be punished if he goes against us, and that's kind of the immunity that we given him. And at the end of the season, if we don't like what Bear did, the league can vote on whether or not we want to keep Bear or get rid of Bear, or maybe Bear will step down. And then we'll have to find a new commissioner. But the whole point of the commissioner is to... We want FPL... Like, you know, like when you create something, right? Like when you create something, you feel attached to it, and you hate anytime somebody... Like, any, you know, you just get attached. You hate anytime like somebody tries to make a comment about our criticism, and you fight back even though the criticism could be like justified completely. So we're trying to avoid that. And Prophet, I would lie to you if I said that we don't make comments in like our admin chat about situations, but Bear is so unbothered by them. Like literally, we'd be like, "Wow, how the fuck is this trade ever gonna like when the whole trade drama happened, right? Like we all were like, wow, what a crazy trade. How the fuck is this gonna happen?" And then we're like, okay. And then we're like, well, let's see what Bear does. And then he approved it. And we're like, all right, you know, that's his decision at the end of the day. Like, I'm not gonna be mad at him for doing exactly what we told him to do, which was you work as your own autonomy, you know. And yeah, so anything else? Beg is. Alright. Beg, you're here. I already went over some of your suggestions. If you want me to pull you up and you can explain them more, But there's no autonomy when you're drafting. Do you know what autonomy is, by the way? That means you do everything on your own. Yeah, yeah. All trades except for the ones including me and JDK were approved. That is very true in the other league. But I'm gonna end it off as this. I'm gonna post a video. It should be like around an hour long. We have a lot of stuff that we went over. So Bear isn't here, so I'm gonna make sure he watches the video, and hopefully we can get all these votes. It's gonna be a lot of votes put up at once, so make sure you guys are diligent about this. We're gonna get all these votes put up, as well as I'm going to look to make threads about each topic, so that maybe if one topic you feel like you didn't get your voice heard in that topic, you can maybe clarify what you meant inside of it. So, yeah. All right, I'll see you guys. Thank you everybody for coming.